Welcome, low ego action heroes. I'm Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and welcome to our Practicing Critical Thinking show. We've been doing this once a month, but as we are getting fewer and fewer submissions, I've decided that this will be the last monthly one. And what we'll do is we'll merge this with the show that I do every other Tuesday, where you ask questions, ask for advice, get mentoring and coaching. Hi, Ana Lucia. And that way you don't have to wait till once a month for this. You can send stuff in at the usual link, which I think is on dcx.to, and I'll just add those to the Q&A AMA that I do usually every other Tuesday. So thanks as always to past and current Patreon members. Some people here have downgraded to free. Some people have moved around. I totally support that. I'm just happy to have people in the Patreon community. You do not have to be paying me. Absolutely optional. But thanks to everybody who's involved at any level. Before we get started, because we only have two things today, so we should have a pretty short show, I also want to mention, since it's October 2024, wow, what happened to me? That I am going back to school to become a certified coach. That's kind of more in the life coaching, motivation, getting organized, that kind of stuff. I'm not a therapist, but I'm going back to school for that. And I need to do lots of real sessions with people as practice, 500 hours. So if you check out dcx.to/coaching-welcome, you'll learn more about what I'm doing, and you are invited to sign up for some free and heavily discounted coaching if there's anything that I can do for you. What's the difference? Yes, I'll still be doing my other coaching if you want advice and for me to look at your work and help you learn stuff and tell you what to do and not do. But this style of coaching that I'm learning is not about telling you what to do or not do. So it's a little bit more about asking questions to help you find the best path for you. All right, so little plug there. Now let's get ready to share the screen, and give me 1 second to log out of some live chatty things that I know are going to pop up and embarrass me. So while I do that, everybody can tell me how you're doing and what you're up to and any interesting weekend plans. All right, let's try it. So here's the sausage being made, and then we'll sneak on over to, there it is. All right, so we've got the live chat, and we've got two things that people sent in. So let's take a look at the easy one first, which was just a LinkedIn post. This is from somebody named Audrey Crane, who I am not connected to, and I didn't see this post and I didn't react to it, so I'm not familiar with it. Looks like it's from a few weeks ago. And basically it says, 3 trends I'm hearing from VPs and other heads of design in these design doldrums. 1, do not, it's a do not emoji, the D word. One view is, don't take the designer job title and avoid using it on slides. We've seen several design leaders take head of product roles. Some design exec strategy and budget decks don't even mention the word design, instead relying on business synonyms for onboarding, design debt, and design strategy. One leader posted that, we never should have picked the word design in the first place. Hi, Steph. It's too easy to dismiss as soft. Phrases like innovation strategy are showing up more. So it sounds like she's not telling us what to do or not do. She's just saying, these are some things I'm hearing. What do you think? So I assume the person who sent it in might want to know what I think. So what do I think? I think that we don't have a time machine. So we can't go back in time and we can't say, you know what? Instead of calling this design, we should have called it customer experience, or we should have called it experience strategy or innovation strategy, because not everything is innovation. In fact, most companies rarely innovate. So I think that any suggestion we have for each other cannot include requiring a time machine. So it doesn't make sense to say, we never should have called this thing, go back and change it. Should we use the word design now? I think it really depends. I think in an organization where people understand what design with a capital D is, and they understand, human-centered design, they understand the importance of research and interaction design and making things right for people and solving the right problem. If they're using that word, or if they're saying something like design thinking, then it probably makes sense for us to say design and to try to own that as much as possible. If nobody is saying design and people are saying experience strategy and customer outcomes, then sure, we can say that as well. I suggested in my Customers Know You Suck book that we shift more towards the words customer experience. I've never been thrilled about being called a designer because I'm not an artist. And when people hear design, they assume that I'm an artist, and I'm not. My art is music. And that kind of doesn't count in this world. So again, for point number one, I think it's okay to use words that your company uses and respects. It's okay to use words that your company uses and respects. So if that's design, great. If that's not design, someone's sending a request now. I might not be able to get to this, y'all. I close my email during these sessions so that nothing pops up. Somebody's sending a LinkedIn post. Oh, from Simon. I was just reading about this. It sounded like whataboutism. All right, I'll try to find it while we're talking, but it's hard because I keep my email closed so that you don't see my email, but we'll try to get there. Meanwhile, there's a lot more to unpack in this particular post. Number 2, go along to get along. Many still gainfully employed heads of design are focused first on being pleasant and easy to work with, and second, just being helpful. One person said, "The only way I managed is by not being an asshole, making people like me, and adding value when I can. This level of flexibility and focus on being pleasant from VPs of design feels notable. Not that they were unpleasant before, but all that fighting for a seat at a table did strain flexibility." Again, this is hard because we're telling people, hey, look, you got beaten down and now you are disempowered. Do yourself a favor and just keep tap dancing. Don't try to get that power. Just make people like you and keep tap dancing. Now, is that the right advice or the wrong advice? It depends. If you have an organization that genuinely first of all, the advice is it's never wrong to not be an asshole. Please don't be an asshole. Please, I think people should like you wherever possible, and you should be adding value. But it sounds like the impression that I get from this is that people decided that there's some sort of mutual exclusivity between doing that and getting good work done. Like, I'm not going to bother trying to get good work done, and I'm not really going to try too hard to show the value of design with a capital D because I'd rather just be liked and keep my job. And obviously, in these difficult employment times, it can seem like the best thing you can do is keep your job. And so I can't tell you, no, go set fire to everything and who cares if you keep your job. I wonder if there's room for both. Because if you're not an asshole and people like you and people respect you, then aren't you in a place where you can make some change, where you can make sure the value of design is known? I don't understand why people, hi Malika, I don't understand why people tend to feel like, oh, I'm just going to tap dance and make people like me, but then not use that cachet or rapport or relationship to get some stuff done. It seems like we think we can only have one or the other. So I think that's something for people to think more about. And I also think that design leadership who is just focused on, I just hope people like me, I don't want to make waves or do too much here, I don't want to fight for a seat at the table, well, then they've helped create where we are now. So, we can say, go ahead, save yourself, tap dance, but then let's not be surprised that we're misunderstood, disempowered, laid off because we don't have leadership that's willing to fight sometimes at all for us, even a little. Ana Lucia says, not rocking the boat ends up being tiring in the long run, not to mention it'll hurt your mental health. You can never speak up. Yeah, absolutely. I spoke with someone recently who struggled with the culture at their job where when they spoke up, people treated them like, you're some sort of problem here. And I get that. I felt that way as well. And so we just have to figure out where's the balance here, So, So again, we can do these things, but then they create the reality that we have. We can see why we've ended up in this position of disempowerment when these leaders and VPs took what little power they had and just said, I'm just going to tap dance and make sure everybody likes me. Don't make waves. I should be pleasant. And my thought is, can't you be both? Can't you be pleasant and get some stuff done and keep your power? Why are we giving our power away? I've been asking that for 6 years, at least. Number 3 on the screen in front, it says, strategic sacrifice, sometimes even poop can fly. Quote, the CEO is okay with a lower bar of design quality for the sake of shipping fast, and it works. Our company is succeeding. End quote. In the same vein, design leaders are increasingly willing to strategically sacrifice certain products or features by just not putting designers on teams where they're not particularly valued or where they'd be stretched too thin to make much of a difference. Okay, so there's a lot of different things going on in number 3 here. In my Customers Know You Suck book, I did recommend not putting UX people on teams where they're not going to be valued or make a difference. It doesn't make sense to sacrifice that person's mental health or job experience just to say they were on a team. I'd rather put them where they're going to be able to get more done, add value, or do something of importance. So for that part, I can make sense of it. But I think we have to take a look at the whole idea of quality. And in fact, we're going to be talking more about quality over on the CX-CC YouTube channel, because again, I'm pretty much going to stop streaming here and finally move everything over to there. And so we've got a webinar coming up on Monday, completely free, 8 p.m. Italy time. Check time zones because we're changing clocks this weekend. And if you're not, times are going to be all thrown off. So check dcx.to. That will lead you to our events calendar. Oh my gosh, people are sending in things right now. People, do you not understand that I'm live on the air and I can't do this? So I will have to unshare my screen, dig these things out of my email, and then reshare my screen. Ana Lucia says, some people think rocking the boat means you will be aggressive. Aren't they aware of assertiveness? Yeah, and I think that it really depends. If the climate of the company culture is nobody should disagree, nobody should talk about risk, don't point out the emperor is naked. If that is the culture and the climate, then you're right. You have to sacrifice everything. You can't talk about anything. You can't bring up risks. You can't warn people about speed over quality if that's the culture. If the culture or the company values claim we're customer-centric, we're honest, we have integrity, we're delivering quality, then there should be an opportunity to talk more about what does that quality look like. Because if the customers aren't happy with the quality, then it's not quality. And that's what Monday's webinar is going to be about. It's a new conference talk I've been doing, though this will be the long version, including the slides I cut for time. And it's called Shift from Cycles of Failure to Quality and Value. And so I think that if your company cares about quality, that's the conversation to have. If your company genuinely doesn't care about quality, then sure, throw it all in the ocean. Tap dance, be pleasant, make people like you, check the boxes, be a good order taker, because that's what your company needs, and they're going to probably reject you if you do anything else. But I think that if a company at least claims to care about quality, we've got an open door to talk about quality. So I think that my response to number 3 here is going to be Monday's webinar on the CX-CC channel. So again, if you missed that, it'll be archived there. I don't remember what episode number it'll be, 251, 252. So make sure you check that out. And that's going to be one to share with everyone who pressed like on this. Okay, so that's this one. Then we got another one, and I see 2 more have come in via email, and we'll take a look at those in a moment. This says, I liked the first part of the article, which discusses how design choices govern what people can or cannot do within a specific context, and how designers often don't have control over these choices, even though they're called design choices. But then the article segues into her design philosophy, which is called Comm Design. And again, I'm wondering why we're inventing a new design philosophy. Isn't human-centered design meant to address all of this? Okay, super questions. And chances are, yes. But let's take a quick look. And again, we often find that there are lots of people who take human-centered design and make a new visual out of it, or make a new derivative of it, or a subset of it. And they go, look, I made this new thing and it's got a name, trademark symbol. And I covered this a bit in my article, Medium, Levitt. Yeah, I was looking at Deutsche Bahn the other day. Design frameworks. Here it is. The differences between design frameworks. And basically I explain they're all human-centered design, but with some stuff left out, or some stuff diminished, or just a different image of it. So again, that's an article that you can refer to. So let's see what this person says. It says the article's by Amber Case. I'm not familiar with who that is. I'm writing this post from a coffee shop. Okay. The coffee shop looks great as long as you don't try to actually use it. Okay. Design is governance. Okay. I always hope articles are going to punch me in the face early with something to draw me in, and I hope this person gets there. Once I go in, the details started to fall apart, but they stayed there. They stayed there. So this is bad, but they stayed there. Doesn't that say something as well? Critical thinking. The Wi-Fi password is printed in a tiny font at the front counter, not designed for people working on their laptops. The man across the room has to make do with battery power. My power cord is plugged across the room. I have to drag my table closer. All the customers instigate a mutiny, agreeing that the furniture's in the wrong place. But they stayed there, and they wrote this. So what did you teach the coffee shop? Nothing. They can do this. Design is governance. At a fundamental level, all design is governance. We encounter inconveniences like this coffee shop every day, but it's not enough to say it's the result of bad design. It's a result of governance decisions made on behalf of customers during the design process. Did this person read my Customers Know You Suck book, where I go into governance twice? Or maybe not. Michelle, I don't pronounce French well, talked about governance. Yeah, isn't a mutiny a stretch? It is. Because a mutiny implies they all left and took over the shop. They probably didn't take over the shop. Governance is the processes, systems, and principles through which a group, organization, or society is managed and controlled. Design not only shapes how product or service will be used, but restricts or frustrates people's existing choices. My neighbor at the cafe can attest to that because a power cord is snaking under her feet. I'm not feeling as strongly about this as the author wants me to. So I have bad news for the author. So where are we going with this? Cafe design as a case study. Well, you lost me a bit on your cafe design. So let me see where else you go with this. Design choices impact operations after the design is implemented and deployed. In other words, this design choice turned the baristas into tech support. The implicit feudalism of product design. So I'm definitely having trouble staying on board with this article. I feel like we're introducing a lot of different topics. The article's fairly long, and I'm still not sure what what I'm supposed to be getting from this. So if we pull up our usual, is this it? Meaningful, actionable, helpful? I can't see my own screen. Here we go. Meaningful, actionable, helpful. I am not really sure what's going on here. I'm really not. So, feudalism? I think implicit feudalism deserves its own article. Better governance through calm design. Those images are reflecting in my head right now. I'm confused. Yeah, what are we talking about? Better governance through calm design. So that means that this person has to present a design paradigm focusing on governance, or you can read customers know you suck. When the architecture of a platform is designed with Comm Technology principles in mind. Comm Technology. That is the first time that is mentioned, but it's in capital letters as if I should already know about it. But so it seems to be a thing. So let's see. With CommTech, we optimize for a goal that isn't just engagement. Yeah, that's human-centered design. You haven't invented anything. CommTech optimizes for a sense of pass-through, like a window designed to let you focus on the scene outside. CommTech tries to optimize the way a classic light switch is optimized. I agree with the person who sent this in. I really don't know what this person is doing and how it's any different from human-centered design. I'll announce a Comm Technology standards body. We have human-centered design and it has ISO standards. You're not going to get better than ISO standards, globally recognized. So this does sound like, again, I don't know this person, but it does sound like another person trying to rebrand human-centered design and put their own name on it. And I don't know why they picked Comm. Comm Technology is a type of information technology where the interaction between the technology and its users is designed to occur in the user's periphery rather than constantly at the center of attention. But that's also not new. I mean, we know, those of us working in human-centered design know that sometimes things will be the center of attention and sometimes they're in the periphery. So I am not understanding this. But while I've got my screen not shared, let me try to pull in the ones that you've been sending in. Let me reopen my email so that my email notifications weren't going off. So yeah, I don't understand that, and I don't think we need it, and I also don't think that it really serves us. I can't think of a particular time where I would say, oh, you know what? If only I had had something like Comm Technology, that project would have gone better. Or if only I had had this concept of Comm Technology, this stakeholder would have understood a thing. So I don't really see where I would where there's like a place for that in my process or where it solves a problem for me. Okay, let's see if I can pull up some of the stuff you've sent in the email. Please hold. Oh, someone sent in two things. Give me a second. Okay, and let me get the other thing and we'll take a look at this stuff. So sounds like one of them is about ad hoc personas. All right, let me get these things dialed up and then let me reshare my screen and we'll take a look at them. Okay, thanks to everybody for your patience, but we normally don't get new additions in the middle of the stream, so let's take a look at them. All right, so screen share and flipping over here, so you should see my LinkedIn and of course the chat on the right. Simon, who I don't follow and generally don't like, says, don't trust companies who put customers first. Okay, so this sounds like something that's going to be designed to hurt customer experience, customer centricity types of things. I don't understand why we shouldn't trust them, but let's see what he says. Our customers are our number one priority is the oft-heard mantra of so many companies these days. We put our clients first is uttered by so many CEOs, one loses track. But there's a problem with putting customers first. It means that employees come at least second. That's not where I thought he was going to go with that. I actually thought where he was going to go with that, and at least where I went with that, was that these promises are lies. That companies say, thank you, Steph. So Steph is right. This is definitely designed to be clickbait so that you as the employee say, yes, what about me? I should have been first. And really, there is no order here. It's not like, we have to have this one first and this one second. These should all be priorities. Customers should never be the priority. People should be the priority. Okay, guess what? Your customers are people too. Some of those people buy from us, some of those people work from us, and it's only a behavioral difference. All customers' employees should both be treated equally and treated well. Okay, so this follows the standard clickbait pattern that we've seen before. And basically what happens is you start with a universal don't do a thing, and then everyone goes, oh. And then you see the second thing, which is some really incendiary, inflammatory type of thing saying, don't trust this, don't do this. And then it ends with some weird thing that very often undoes the beginning of the post. Because obviously this person knows that if they just write, people are our priority. What if the post started with what the real point is? People should be the top priority of a company. Some of those people buy from us. Some of them work for us. And these are all the people, and all the business decisions have to be made considering the impact on the people who are on the receiving ends of the decisions. Some of them are customers. Some of them are employees. So it's not that he is wholly wrong. It's how he gets there is just a standard clickbait post. And I think he could have done just as well, if not better, if he had started with people should be the priority, and people include customers and workers or employees. So, because ultimately the post doesn't prove why you shouldn't trust a company that puts customers first. I don't trust companies that say they put customers first because they don't put customers first, but then we also know they don't put employees first either. And so I think that this is one of those posts where when you look at it with your critical thinking hat on, you'll find that the first part of it really isn't true at all and really wasn't the point. That was just there, excuse me, to draw you in and maybe make you mad. I'd probably go beyond clickbait to say rage bait. Don't trust companies who put customers first. Anger. I feel negative emotions. That means this is rage bait. So, so my thought is you could have had really good engagement on this post without the rage bait by just saying what your point was. But we also know rage bait seems to sell, and I think that's unfortunate. Arun says, hey, Debbie, your videos have helped me a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you. Make sure you're subscribed to CX-CC on YouTube, since this might be the last stream on this channel for a while. Okay, someone else just also sent in this. Katarina Kurt, who I don't know, and I apologize if I spelled you incorrectly. So I don't think I know this person. We're not connected because I'm logged in and you can see we're not connected. So this is from yesterday, and it says, hi, Internet. Today I want to introduce you to Peak. Peak is the result of my 6-month R&D fellowship with Media Lab Bayern. It's a little AI-powered web app that will evaluate your ad hoc personas for implicit biases and stereotypical narratives. Okay, so let's look back at what someone said. When I applied for the fellowship, I wanted to remove the persona method from ideation workshops altogether, but had to realize in research that this wouldn't happen. Now Peak is here to give you a little guidance on understanding what biases your personas can evoke before you share them with your team. Prototype, not public. Follow my landing page. Thanks to people. Okay. And the comment says, usually creating personas takes longer, but this will do. But it won't do. Ad hoc personas is a breeding ground for misleading assumptions when teams without previous UX and design experience idealize their users, treat those they cannot relate to with cynicism, or simply reproduce implicit prejudices. Ana Lucia says, isn't an ad hoc persona built with guesses and assumptions? Why would we even do those? Ana Lucia, I totally agree. I always think that assumptive personas, or, oh gosh, what are they called again? There's another word for assumptive personas. Oh gosh, someone help me here. It's not ad hoc. There's another word. Now I'm forgetting it, but there's a few words that we use when they're not personas based on research and knowledge. They're more personas based on opinions, guesses, and assumptions. But the thing that I notice here is, isn't it interesting that someone might listen to this advice because it came from an AI, but why aren't they listening to the advice coming from a qualified UX professional? If I'm there and I'm a qualified UX professional, I go, hey, these personas are a mess. You've got biases, you've made up stuff, you've got all kinds of assumptions that you can't even prove. Proto-personas. Thank you, Steph. That was it. If I come in and say that, will I be listened to? Or will I only be listened to if I say, hey, I found an AI tool that tells us where our personas suck. Look at what it said. You know, there's this strange continued devaluation of experts and knowledgeable people in favor for something an AI spat out. And so I would say, I can't tell you if this AI is good or not. I can only tell you that you should have someone working at your company who can tell you if your personas are good or not, biased or not, assumptive or not, powerful or not, meaningful or not, and you don't need an AI for that. So sorry to Katarina and her project, but I still wish a human was having that conversation. I don't know why do we trust AI to have that conversation more than a person? Oh, and then someone sent the link to the project. Ana Lucia, if we had infinite time for a project, it could be somewhat cool to have ad hoc personas and compare them to the real personas, but we don't. Yeah, and I always wish people would do more of that. Like, go ahead, let your company guess at personas, make up some segments or target audiences, invent whatever you think they do or who they are, and then run really good research and compare the two. Where were you right or wrong? Or where was your persona meaningless and not actionable? Like, they like Starbucks. Guess what? I can't design anything based on them liking Starbucks. I can't innovate based on them liking Starbucks. I can't design or innovate based on them driving a certain type of car. And I definitely can't design or innovate based on how friendly they are on a scale of 1 to 10. So, yeah, and Alan Cooper misunderstood behavioral typologies and the type of persona work that Larry Marine was doing. So Alan Cooper came up with kind of bad personas, and we all followed him. And now we have these very marketing demographic-y personas. But, you know, do you really need AI to tell you about that bias? When some people just out of boot camps have sent me the personas they made in the boot camp, I saw absolute racism. If I tell you there's racism in your personas, will you believe me? Yes, no. If an AI tells you there's racism in your personas, will you believe it? Which one of us will you believe? And which one of us will inspire you to change your personas? So that's all I can say for that. Is I don't know if this person's project or idea is good or bad. I'm not judging it based on that. I'm asking the larger question of, why isn't there someone at the company who can say these personas are biased? These personas are bad. These personas are too assumptive. Or we shouldn't do very much with proto-personas. They're totally fake and made up. Ana Lucia says, I just love the is considered and considers himself. I actually laughed. Yeah, definitely considers himself. The rest is up for debate. So that's what we got for today. And again, we'll be combining the critical thinking with the every other Tuesday Q&A, Ask Me Anything over on the CXCC channel. So make sure you subscribe to that. I think there's a link to it from dcx.to. And that way we'll get to your stuff a little bit faster, a little bit more in the moment. And we won't have this show anymore because today I only got 2 things. And if you hadn't emailed stuff in while I was talking, it would have been a very short show. Carl Jung would like to raise a point. Yeah, there's definitely, there should be more controversy around personas and around Alan Cooper's definitions of them, but because people don't know what else is available to them, they just think this must be the way, and so they're not familiar with behavioral typologies, or as Larry Marine talks about in his book, user profiles. They're not familiar with these other ways to do things, and so they think, we just need personas, and it's okay if we guess at personas or create ad hoc pseudo personas. Doesn't really match very well. So I hope everybody will come back on Monday for our webinar on talking about quality, because I think with all of the mess that we're seeing in design and research and leadership and everybody thinking they have to walk on eggshells, I think that it's still okay in many cases to have conversations about quality. If your company claims to care about quality or claims to measure for quality or thinks about quality, then we should be talking about quality. And that means we don't have to talk about design and designers and what's my job and who took my job and blah, blah, blah. If your company cares at all about quality, we should be talking about quality. If your company doesn't care at all about quality, then now you know where you work and you can tap dance along and collect your paycheck and expect very little of them. And that's fine. I'm not saying you have to quit. You can just play the game. But if your company claims to care about quality, I hope we're not just gonna lay down and be steamrolled and play the game if the door is open to talk about quality. So that's Monday. I hope to see everybody there. Again, check the events calendar at dcx.to and check us out then. All right, I'm going to do the end of show fire, and I hope everybody has a super weekend, and I'll catch you soon. Thanks. Bye. It's still me. Okay, the fire didn't go off, and it's still me, so I'm just going to press the stream button. Bye, everybody. Oh, wait, I pressed the wrong button. Let's try again.